What Colin Chapman, the founder of Lotus, wanted from his cars was lightness, simplicity, and terrier-like handling. Old Colin, basically, liked automotive nouvelle cuisine. What I like from my cars is gobfuls of torque. Heavyweight get up and go from 1,000 RPM, preferably less. Red meat, basically. And you can leave the sissy sauce in the kitchen. Unsurprisingly, I've never really got on with the Esprit. Its engine was too small, it was too namby-pamby. When Sean Connery was Bond, he had an Aston Martin. When Roger Moore took over, he got a Lotus. And that seemed somehow appropriate. So, why then have I been wearing a Stilton-esque grin all week, ever since I learned I was to be driving this particular car? Well, I'll show you. There, where you'd normally expect to find a miserable four-cylinder engine, is a V8. A turbo V8. A turbo V8 with 350 horsepower and 300 foot-pounds of torque. And look, they've even found room for a boot as well, but that's of no moment. And nor are the Toyota rear lights. What matters with this car is the colossal grunt, the tyres like garden rollers, the Oz racing wheels, the Brembo racing brakes. The Lotus Esprit, for the first time, just got serious. The ABS system is amazing. The grip is astounding, but the noise is a major disappointment. And so are the vibrations at high revs. These are the downsides of making the engine with a flat plane crank, just like they do in Formula One. The upside is power, lots of power. This Esprit deals with a 0 to 60 sprint in 4.6 seconds. And if you keep your right foot buried in the Axminster, that plastic body will rip the breeze apart at a whopping 178 miles an hour. 178 miles an hour. At that sort of speed, Britain's early warning defence system will believe we're about to be on the receiving end of a cruise missile attack. At that sort of speed too, people will start drawing comparisons between this and the Ferrari 355. I mean, they're both mid-engine, two-seater V8 supercars. And so they are, but this doesn't have the poise or the delicacy of a 355. Nor is it as advanced. The 355 has adaptive suspension and 5 valves per cylinder. And of course, the 355 doesn't bang and crash when you change up. If you go from second to third in this, above 5,000 RPM, you'd better make sure your false teeth are in properly. The reason why this car at £58,000 is 35 grand less than the Ferrari is because it's not as good. Not by a long way. But there's nothing the British love more than a loser, and there's an awful lot to love about this car. The Esprit may have been around for 200 years. It's seen Lotus owned by everyone except that girl with the pram. It can remember when kids in the streets had rickets. But it still looks fresh. It handles well too. There's big fun to be had here. Wide tyres don't help the ride, but the suspension is more absorbent than lavatory paper. And the comfort theme carries on inside. The seats are brilliant, the driving position is first class. However, there are one or two mistakes. When I look in the rear-view mirror, all I can see is the rear spoiler. And what about these dials? I can tell you the water temperature, I can tell you what boost I have currently, but oil pressure, fuel level, revs, speed, the time, forget it. I haven't finished yet. This wooden leather doesn't suit a car of this type. And the leather creaks like that Maserati's did in last week's programme. Sounds like that badly oiled hinge on a 17th century barn door. You can hardly blame Lotus, though, for a few little mistakes, because they managed to develop this car while their parent company, Bugatti, was in receivership. Ferrari and Maserati have Fiat to help them out. Aston and Jaguar have Ford, but Lotus, the Bobber-Job boys from Norfolk, had to do it all for paper-round money. For that, we should doff our caps as a mark of respect, but should we rush off in coach loads to buy their new car? If you're the sort of chap or chapess who likes your sports car to be British, to have a V8 engine, to be immensely fast and drop-dead gorgeous, you're probably thinking this is the zenith. And it would be, except for one small thing: the TVR Cerberus.